Phase 2 Pearl and Next Factor are both continuations of pretty much legendary lines of bowling balls from Storm. On paper, they look somewhat similar. Both are shiny pearls. Both are meant to be for when the lanes are starting to hook. But in reality, they are still quite different. So today I'm going to see how they compare to each other, how you should use them compared to each other, and which one might be better for your game. So let's do a quick comparison here. First up, throw a shot with each of them so you get a first idea. Alright, so there's obviously the Phase 2 Pearl. Looks pretty good. Really nice, basically a Phase 2 Pearl, like it says. It's cleaner, it's more angular than the Phase 2 Pearl. It's pretty much what you would expect from a Phase 2 that's a quicker, cleaner version. It's not like night and day weaker. It's not super angular. It's not anything other than kind of what you would expect from a Phase 2 Pearl. Let's see the Next Factor from the same spot. All right, obviously different. So Next Factor is a little bit different, revival of the X Factor line. It's a hierarchy asymmetrical core with quite a lot of asymmetry. So that's the first difference between these two balls. Phase 2 Pearl, obviously symmetrical, lower RT, like very benchmarky type ball, medium type of core. Next Factor, kind of a unique kind of core. Higher RT makes it skid longer. The strong PSA creates a lot of dynamic and asymmetry, which can make it a lot more dynamic, a lot more responsive than the Phase 2 Pearl. So, but then comes the covers, and like on paper, we always say that the asymmetrical core is the stronger of the core. So you would think that the Next Factor would be the stronger ball of the Phase 2 Pearl, and Next Factor because it has an asymmetric core. But let's actually take a look. So, all right. So first shot with the Next Factor went high, left the 4-9. Let's try to throw one more from the same spot here. All right, got it further right, got a little too far down lane, flat 10. Let's throw another one with the Phase 2 Pearl, just to see them again. Ooh. So, I hope you can see what I'm seeing, because to me, I'm actually seeing the Phase 2 Pearl pick up quite a lot sooner than the Next Factor, and obviously being a little bit smoother, a little more rounded shape, where Next Factor seems to be a little more angular, a little quicker. So, and this is kind of what I've also been seeing when I've been practicing with them, the Phase 2, despite having the weaker core, so to speak, because it's a symmetrical core versus an asymmetrical core, it's actually a stronger ball. And I think there's two reasons for this. One, the high RG on the Next Factor actually takes that really like pretty strong asymmetrical core and makes it weaker, where the low RG on the Phase 2 Pearl makes it pick up that much sooner, that it reacts so much earlier on the lane that it actually becomes a step above the Next Factor. Then the next part comes the covers. I think the Pearl cover on the Phase 2 Pearl is stronger than the one on the Next Factor. Next Factor feels like it's a cleaner, more responsive cover, which also, along with the higher RG, pushes it even further down lane. So that's why the Next Factor is actually cleaner than the Phase 2 Pearl. So let's move around a little bit. All right, so Phase 2 Pearl, move 5 left here. There's a little bit left of target, but you can see like still picks up, and it's obviously it's clean, but still picks up in the mid lane. Like nice, smooth, rounded shape, kind of what you would expect from like a Phaze 2-2, just quite a bit further down lane. So really nice, rounded shape, just keeps continuing. So let's see the next factor from the same spot. So I'm expecting this one to get further down lane and be more angular. That was further right. And you can really see, even though I missed a little right, that went way further down lane, actually went too far down lane. So it's actually quite interesting because if you compare these two balls, you kind of think like a pearl, shiny, not super overly strong ball, like the Phaze 2 pearl, and kind of the same thing with the next factor. You'd think they'd be almost like interchangeable, that you could use them, that you would get one or the other, but I actually think they're so different that you can easily fit both of them in the same arsenal without having an overlap. Layout-wise of these two, because it's asymmetrical and symmetrical, I went with quite different layouts. Pin down, 4 3/4 inch layout on the next factor. Pretty standard asymmetrical pin down layout for me. I read that layout works really well for me on asymmetrical pearls, so I went with it on the next factor. But on the Phaze 2 pearl, I went with like a high 5 1/4 inch pin. The reason for this is I feel like the symmetrical balls, with how much urethane carry down there is in Europe, I need that higher pin without going with a stronger pin to pad distance to give me that extra flair and that extra responsiveness. So I will say this, if I went with the 5 inch pin down on the Phaze 2 pearl, it would be much weaker and smoother, and the difference between these two balls would be even bigger. But I feel like you can already see how big the difference is. So, and right now, the Phaze 2 pearl actually looks like it's really laying really, really nicely, while the next factor is a little too clean. So let's go 4 further left and throw the next factor slower. Yeah. A little bit slower, so it gets to pick up in that mid lane, and you can see how it really comes off hard on the end of the pattern. No issue getting down the lane with the really clean cover and the high RG, and really, really comes back. And that's the thing I've noticed with the next factor. Like, as if it reaches the mid lane, it hooks back every time. So it's just a matter of not using it on something that's a little too much oil or a little too less friction. So let's try to do the same thing with the Phaze 2 pearl. Ended up in the same spot, but I saw, like, the next factor, I didn't see it reach the mid lane until it got past 30 feet. Like, I didn't see it do anything. The Phaze 2 pearl, as soon as it got past the arrows, I saw it start doing something and just kind of started reading from there. Like, obviously it didn't go high because of red there, but it just started its motion already there. So much, much sooner, and just makes a much longer, smoother, more continuous kind of motion. Overall hook about the same, honestly, but from 2 very different spots now, like 2 very different motions. To answer one question, do you need both of these? I think we can have both of these in the virtual. I'm gonna have both of these, because I feel like if I start with a Phaze 2, I'd probably go to a Phaze 2 pearl. Game 3, 4, I'm gonna be playing like 3rd, 4th-ish arrow. I want it to be clean, but still pick up in the mid lane. I don't want it to be super angular. I want it to still smooth out a little bit of the wet dry that might be a little bit of a spottiness. And then when I need to take that big step further left, get into like 5th arrow or lofting the gutter, and I need the ball to retain some energy and really come off the end of the pattern hard, that's when I'll go into the next factor. And maybe that last game, that's exactly what I did this past weekend. Last game, I went from a Viking to the next factor, and went from shooting 199 to 279. Like, you just got that little bit further down lane, more responsive. All of a sudden it would go through the pins rather than me like leaving 10 pins and having to really use my hand to get it to go through the pins like I had to with the Viking, because that was just a little too strong. So that's where I see these two balls fitting off each other, and I think they're gonna match up off of each other really good. So you can easily have both of these in your arsenal. Missed in a little bit there, and you can see it just kind of sees the oil and just keeps going. Actually got a pinch too far down lane again there. So it's still a little too clean actually for this, which is kind of impressive. Really tells me that when we get out on something where there's a lot of friction, the X Factor is going to be a really, really good option. And it is cleaner than you would think it is because of that hierarchy. Kind of like an asymmetrical version of a high road with that hierarchy that just lets it float through all the friction easily every time. Let's throw one more from in here. Let's go another 3 left. Still a little too far down lane, but you can really see like it comes back every time. It's not like it's getting too far down lane and then the 210s. It just gets there and hooks back. And that's a really good sign, because I know some of the times when I throw hierarchy balls, as soon as they see the oil too much, they're not going to hook. Like, they're just going to go 60 feet. This one still hooks back every time, even though it gets a little too far down lane sometimes. Got that one further right, a little more inside of it, but it just picks up so much sooner, so it's not making up, like the X Factor is making up the distance way down lane and really coming back sharply, which is also why it's leaving 10 pins right now. The Phaze 2 Pearl is covering that distance on a much longer, like lengthwise distance, so it's like hooking slower but over a longer distance and making up the hook back to the pocket over a longer distance, which also means it has less entry angle, which is why it's going through the pins better right now. So in a couple more games, it'd probably be the exact opposite. The Phaze 2 Pearl would probably start leaning 10 pins, and the X Factor would start chopping them out and throwing the pins around and getting me a lot of strikes. Especially for me as a little bit lower revert player, not having to be too afraid of the ball getting too far down lane. Because a lot of times, if my ball gets too far down lane, I'm really scared that it's not going to hook, that it's going to 210 wash out, But I feel like I can trust that this one, as long as it just gets to pick up a little bit, even if it's a little too far lane, it's still going to hook back, which just allows me to use my speed and my versatility more to finally match it up. And that's a really good feeling for me. That's something a little bit unique, a little bit different, and that's why I feel like the Phaze 2 Pearl and the X Factor, I need both in my arsenal. I'm really excited about these two. And yeah, hopefully you are too. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about either of these balls or how they compare to each other, how they compare to other balls, and I'll try to answer them. So thanks for watching. Please go watch more of my videos. I would really appreciate that. And I'll see you more in another video.